Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Creators Lounge podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jaye, and I'm super stoked to talk to the guest today. I've known these guys my whole life because they are my cousins, and they are also an incredible band. So we have a lot to talk about. Guys, give us the intro. What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do?
Well, we are a heavy metal band from the glorious state of Oklahoma in the good old US of A. Yeah, we're alright.
Yeah, we're alright.
And the name of the band is...
I'm Sam.
Yeah.
Sam by...
Yep. I'm Josh. I take care of all the vocals. Most of the... Sometimes, like drums and stuff.
I'm Sam. I do guitar, like lead guitar and rhythm guitar.
Alright.
Just the two.
Alright, guys, fantastic. So we need to start with some background. I'm curious for you guys, how long have you been interested in music, and when did you start making music?
Well, I know from music since I was really young. I used to have an old microphone that I would just plug into a kind of a sing-along radio deal and just sing to the song. And that's kind of where my love for music came from. In terms of making music, it wasn't until 2015 that I became interested in making music.
Yeah, it's not really the same for me. I was never really interested in music or making music. But one day Josh decided I'm going to make a heavy metal band. We'll play guitars and we'll sing and all this, and one day we'll perform live and all that. I wasn't really in on it at first. I just didn't think that was in my future. I thought it was a phase for him, but he convinced me to join up with him.
Yeah.
And
I kind of just kidnapped him a little bit into it. It wasn't really his choice almost.
Yeah, absolutely. It's when the big brother does it, so the little brother kind of has to follow suit. I kind of want to go. There's two places I want to go with this, actually. First of all, for you first, Josh, I'm curious for you, what was that moment like when you decided to start making music? Why and how did that happen?
So, we staying over at your guys' house. It was 2015, I think December 26th, if I remember correctly. Or it's 27th. It was right after Christmas. We were chilling out over there, and you were in the studio, and I was always fascinated with the piano and all that stuff. So I came up and I just started goofing around on it, I think, and then you were like, hey, why don't we sit down and make a song, basically. And then that's how it began, you know? I had never thought that, I had always assumed that you had to be in, Hollywood or something to actually make music like a professional. So I never thought that I could just go, here's a keyboard, why don't you, just mess around with it and make. So that was really my introduction. I actually have you to thank for that.
It's my pleasure. No, I remember the night as well, actually, and saying I was in the studio at that time, like, everyone knows I'm a dinosaur now. I've just been making music forever. But no, it's exciting. And
putting you on blast here.
Yeah. But it's true, Josh, and I think it's true for all the creators today. So many people don't realize how much opportunity and how much potential we have available at our fingertips, right? Like, whether it's through a smartphone or a computer or whatever you're doing, even in just in your community, like, we always limit ourselves and say that I can't do this unless this, I can't achieve this unless I have this, and it's just not true. There's so much we can do on our own. And I want to talk about stuff you guys have done on your own. From that first track that you and me did until now, very different sounds because we have different styles, and so you guys have had to create your sound over the years.
So
what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Looking back to your early music to now, what kind of changes have happened for you?
Oh man,
Sammy, you might want to actually take this one.
We've made so many changes. We started not knowing what we're doing. We had we installed a music program, and it came with drums and guitars and bass and all. So it had the band package all, and we just started kind of recording and stuff. pressing keys and trying to play the music, have like any idea of theory or like what we were doing, and we just try and like compose a little something. Didn't know how to edit it or anything, and it started off very slow. We got frustrated a lot, had no clue how anybody would like use the software that we right, but over time we kind of got into a groove of what we'd do and how we'd make it, and we made like music that like unreleased
Way
stuff.
too
We
much.
made too much. Like I think it was like just unreleased material for that over the course of like what, a year, 2 years,
A year, almost.
yeah, almost 2 years. It was just so much stuff. We added like vocals and stuff. We'd go into the record vocals, and we wouldn't even like write anything. The sounds and do it on the fly. Like if you asked for it, wouldn't, because we just recorded it and thought we were done. So we did work really hard for what we'd be eventually. That eventually we get more band members and we learn instruments and stuff and learn and be able to play the mess that we were making, like in the computer and all that.
Yep, I totally understand. It's funny. I think that every artist does that when you first get into music production. You start making like one song every day, and by the end of a year, you have like 500 tracks already of unfinished stuff. I do think
Yeah.
it's valuable, though, as far as practice and kind of getting used to
Yeah.
the environment and the audio workstation or whatever. Is it hard for you guys to go back and listen to that stuff, or what's your opinion on it now?
Oh boy,
It's horrible.
It's so
It's really bad.
terrible.
Just brutal
It's
honesty.
So
It's
terrible,
horrible.
man. I don't even know how to explain.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain how bad they are. They defy the human understanding of music.
Listen,
just how bad
we our stuff nowadays with like our low quality recording and just the way it's played out and all that. But that stuff back in man,
Jeez.
it's a disservice to humanity.
Yeah.
Almost,
Oh man.
Yeah, but it is important to learn a little bit of that, and we were able to, it's the building blocks for what we did back then.
And we grew from it.
Mhm.
We grew. And a lot of the same elements that we started back then, we took to now.
Right.
It's a lot of the same vibe and tone,
Mhm.
a lot of the same lyrical content we do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times it's like a puzzle figuring out like what you're actually going to sit down about, what you're going to make and how, especially when you're starting out.
Yeah, guys, I love those words. It's true. I agree a lot. It's cool that you guys can kind of like look at it objectively and say like, we don't like it, but then you can also kind of laugh about it and kind of take it for what it is, I agree with you that Sam, like you said, it really shaped your guys' sound. It helped you figure stuff out. That's really important. I think for every artist across the board to be able to accept their previous work instead of just feeling depressed or, feeling angry about it, it's because I really honestly believe that there are basically no mistakes. Every mistake is just a lesson we learn, and it's the same way like with art and creating. It's just a step pushing us forward. Where would you guys say that you are right now artistically?
That's a good question. I think we're still beginners, definitely, but I think we're starting to step it up into this intermediate phase. We don't know what we're doing still, but at the same time, we're learning, and however unorthodox it is, we're still applying what we have now to what we're doing.
Yeah, it's important, Josh, and I want to kind of follow that up a little bit more. There's a common quote that goes around, and it says, "You never know what you don't know." So, like you said just now, there's still a lot of stuff that you guys don't feel competent in. How do you identify areas that need growth? How do you how do you like identify and say like, okay, we need to work on this, or we need to learn this?
A lot of it comes from looking at our musical peers. I think, it's not so much judging yourself to the standards of like a big popular band, but like, what are the people that in the community. In our case, the metal community. What are they sounding like? What are they incorporating? And then trying to take what they have and, in a sense, just mimic it, right?
Mhm.
So that you become closest to what you enjoy.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I agree. It's a lot of figuring out what other people are doing and seeing how they do it, kind of learning from what they know, like what knowledge they have.
Mm. Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. Like you said, Josh, it's not about judging yourself or comparing yourself to others, but there's definitely valuable techniques or methods we can pull from other people and then use for our own good. It's kind of like that quote by
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Lee, the one that says, "Take what is essential, discard what is non-essential, and add what is specifically your own." So yeah, I think I love that
Yep.
approach for sure. And we should talk about your music. You know, you said you take inspiration from your peers. Like, how would you describe your music? What are the common themes that go through your songs?
Well, really, at the end of the day, it's just the baseline heavy metal sound.
Mhm.
Really, fast, aggressive, punchy, straightforward. It's not overly complicated with
Mhm.
musical theory and things like this. It's just, here's a cool riff, here's some cool drumming, and some
Mhm.
angry vocals about some angry dudes.
Yeah, just
And
groove to it, you know.
Mm,
yeah, at the end of the day, it's not about how pretentious we can be with our musicality. Uh, I can play so much better. Now we're just two random from the South, just chilling out in our room, right? Just
Mhm.
recording music, making music, having fun, and having some messages
Mhm.
behind it, sure, and just not only using it to talk about what we believe in, but using it to cope with what we struggle with. So it's just really, it's just straightforward. I think it's heavy metal at the end of the day. That's really it, you know.
man, I love it. Yeah, no, it's really good, and I think that's what's cool about you is that your music is very simple and very straightforward, and that's not a bad thing. It's a great thing because you get to communicate exactly what you want to communicate without any extra added on stuff or being pretentious, like you said. You know, we can understand exactly what the emotions are, what the key things are, and then jumping back to your influences, I want to hear from both Sam and Josh, for you guys respectively. Who do you consider your biggest influences who have kind of guided you and shaped your sound as a musician?
Oh man. Okay, just like a few bands, you know, it's things we listen to. Like, you know, you got the big ones. You got Metallica, Death. You got thrash metal. You know, just different genres, different bands specifically, like Pantera. You know, Metallica, Typo Negative. You know, just like other bands out there. You know, influences.
Yeah, my major influences, while they all come, it's some of it's a little bit more. It's very like different all over the place. Like there's a lot of the kind of typo negative and Danzig influence, and then there's also Death and Anthrax and stuff like that. And then kind of right in the middle, the smallest amount, I've got and stuff like that that I
Hmm.
always grew up listening to, and things like that that I've just kind of taken from like growing up and
Hmm.
incorporate that
Yeah.
into how I sing and what we.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Not unsurprisingly, a lot of your influences are definitely, like you guys said, in the metal kind of realm, whether it's thrash or heavy or whatever it may be. Real quick, I wanted to ask you guys, what is the strangest influence you have that people wouldn't expect for a metal band?
If we're talking about going way, way back, it's going to be Owl City, definitely.
How interesting.
Because that I first attached my voice to singing and trying to sound like was Owl City. You know, it was his records and stuff, and just singing along to every song that I could and trying to be exactly like him. So that's really, I guess, the first and most strange.
How interesting. That's really funny. Yeah, did not see that coming. Sam, is there one for you or not really?
I listened to a few songs, like just things I find aren't really in the heavy metal realm.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
just versus classic kind of sounding songs, and you got like the grungier, more like modern. I kind of like and I'm into, and I'll listen to songs like that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So
And
not a
that's kind of where I build some of my.
yeah, so not a specific artist, but kind of just more like a sound or a style of music. Makes sense. I got that. Jumping back to what you
Yeah,
said a minute
yeah.
ago, Josh, you talked about how music can help us cope with things, and I think that's really valuable and important. How closely is your artistic life and your daily life connected?
Completely connected. It's the same thing. The same people we on whatever music we produce, the songs, the lyrics, that from me and sometimes from Sammy too. It's just at the end of the day,
hmm
it's what we
We're not
believe and
trying to
how we
be
perceive.
someone else whenever we sing or whenever we play or whenever we're releasing music. We're just trying to live what we have out in through the music. It's not just to put ourselves out there through the sound, even though that's a part of it. It's also just to kind of put yourself into something.
And it's again like I mentioned coping because that's what it is. A lot of the songs deal with depression or anxiety or anger management or loss and suffering, things that every human being faces. But I just take what is all bottled up inside and I put it to record there. And as cheesy as it sounds, that is in a sense what it is. It's musical therapy
Musical
in,
therapy. I love
in a
that
large.
phrase. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I love that phrasing. It's really important. I do want to talk about it more because I do think, in my experience, an artist's artistic growth is definitely related to like their musical growth as well, whether that's mentally or physically or spiritually or whatever it may be. I'm curious for you guys. I think obviously you do agree with that. What are the biggest challenges you've faced, and then how did you represent it in music?
Uh, take this one first. This is kind of a tough one
uh,
because
I think it's just like that kind of frustration. We don't live close to this where we're kind of in the countryside and we don't get out much or do. It's kind of that realm where you're sitting there, you're trying to make or do something, and that's the challenge. Something to make something that you think sounds good, and you think that other think it sounds good, but you don't have anything to really get at that because it's such like a crucial part of your life. At least that's the way it is for us.
yeah, and I think the thing that I've had to deal with in life is feelings of betrayal by people and thoughts just absolute anger towards them and then depression whenever realizing that I had been tricked by them into doing kind of what they want and they just as a pawn. A lot of that translates into our music. A lot of that anger and aggression comes out. A lot of a lot of sad type songs kind of come out. A lot of feelings like our song Black Morning is about the morning that I woke up and felt betrayed by these people that I thought were closest friends. And I woke up and it just felt like a black morning. It felt like it was just downcast, completely downcast. And that's a way that I used to help deal with that I was feeling was writing that song.
Yep.
So I think my emotional in terms of lyrics, my emotional struggles and whatnot come through almost almost in 100% of our songs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really cool,
So
and I think that the fact you're
I,
able to do that makes the music more authentic. And authenticity is always a big plus for any kind of artist. Being as real as you can. I wanted to ask though,
mm,
because obviously, like you said, personal struggles are a big inspiration and big influence for you guys. Is it difficult to take those powerful emotions and translate them into lyrics or to translate them into music? What was that process like, learning how to do that?
It's difficult because being able to say it in a way that's intelligent, most of the thoughts whenever you're high on emotion and you just want to lash, it's not going to be very intelligent sounding. So it's really hard to kind of get the words together, to kind of make it so that you are able to put forward a cohesive thought on what's the feelings that you're feeling and the emotions behind it. I think putting it into a cohesive unit is the most difficult.
Makes sense. Sam, how about for you? Is there anything you want to add on that?
No, no, not really for me. I don't really find it. I don't. It's not as much of a big part of my influence
Sure,
as
sure,
the
sure.
personal struggles I've had or anything.
Yeah. I understand. No, it's cool though. I like what you said, Josh, about like saying it in an intelligent way. I think that goes into communication, right? Because like as creators, we have thoughts and ideas and beliefs, and even though we understand how that works, the audience doesn't always understand how it works. And so it's so important for us to communicate that in a way that many people can
Yeah.
understand, and not just ourselves and our closest friends. And it kind of determines like how many people we can reach with our music or with our lyrics or our art, is how well we can communicate the emotion that we're feeling. um I
Mhm.
know that a good way to fix issues and struggles that we have, or to look at the past and see how we solve those struggles. And you mentioned already some of the stuff that you've gone through, like betrayal and anger and things like that. What were the things you did that helped you walk through those situations? Music obviously is a big one. Was there other stuff as well that helped you move past those difficulties?
I never move past anything, and that's my big problem in life. Is I don't let go of things very easily, and I don't really forget. And I know I should, and things like that. And I know it's unhealthy to hold on to this, but I have it, right? So again, music is a way out there, right, to kind of get rid of it, and it does lessen the effect. It just never gets rid of them, right? And other than music, it's been has really helped with the aspect of bringing pain to someone in a way that's still contained and confined and legal. So it allows me to express the different pent up emotions of mostly anger and rage and get it out there, right, in a way that's productive because I'm still learning something and
Still
I'm
working on something.
right,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. And again, like music too is the big thing. Other than that, really, I just keep it just in there, and just learn to live with it and work around it. Really.
How interesting. Very, very intriguing look into your artistry. Yeah, I think, like you said, I think a big thing about managing emotions is finding a productive way to express them. Whether that's through sports and being athletic, or whether it's through music or painting or whatever it is. So it is really very, very helpful that you have this outlet that you can use to express yourself and kind of walk through these difficulties and things. Do you consider yourself a positive person? First, you, Josh, and you, Sam, as well. Do you think that you have like a positive outlook on stuff, or how would you describe your outlook on life?
Why don't you take it first, Sammy? You
Uh,
actually take it first.
I think I am a little bit of a positive person, that I do kind of look at things as if everything's going to be okay. Because I know that, at least for me, it will. That eventually things will be fine. Everything's going to work out. So I would say I'm kind of a positive person.
And that's where the opposite comes in for me because I don't consider myself a positive person, at least not anymore. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. I just can't really look at everything through a super positive light anymore. It's just not something that I do. It's I'm not necessarily nihilistic, but I'm definitely not an optimist in any way. I understand the good and I appreciate the good, but more so I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical and I guess paranoid to put it in more of a layman's terms, I guess. But it's really complicated because I'm not. I'm not some guy that just mulls around all day, bummed out. I'm just not overjoyed at everything, So, yeah, no, I'm not really a positive person.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I understand. It's funny how you guys are mixed though. Like you are bandmates, but you're kind of like yin yang. Yeah, the tower. The dark
Yeah.
and light. It's an awesome mixture for sure. And I think that for you, Josh, I think it's interesting because a lot of great musicians use their anger or their frustration to propel themselves forward. Right. I think a great example would be Eminem. Like Eminem had a whole lot of anger in his early days, and that's kind of what made everyone listen to him more and be more interested in his story. Was how angry he was and frustrated he was with stuff. So
Definitely.
it's cool that you can use that kind of quote unquote dark energy to be your propelling force forward. And in that same vein, because a lot of people would say that those kind of emotions would be inhibitors to success, I wanted to ask you guys, among your peer group and your friends who are making music or making art, what do you guys identify as like the common denominator, the biggest inhibitor to success is for you and your friends? What is the thing that's kind of that you guys think is holding all of you back from becoming successful, becoming what you want to be? I kind of want to hear both of your answers on this. If you guys might have a different answer or maybe the same answer, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I think mostly for us and a lot of other people like us, it's like an ignorance to learn or to change and kind of like experiment a little sound and do your own. That in this community, there's a lot of fear of being considered a sellout or being considered, not metal anymore, not heavy enough, too light or too heavy and not good anymore. That nobody's really experimenting or trying different things, new chords or new melodies, whether it's new like tunings or whatever it could be. People aren't doing that as much as they were anymore, and that's kind of how this genre of music started, was kind of an experiment. And that's kind of how a lot of genres start, is an experiment. And we're not really, it doesn't feel like we're doing that as much anymore. Everybody's a copy of somebody else, it feels like.
Yeah, good word, Sam. It's interesting because the irony of that situation is either you don't experiment and then you sound like everybody else, or you do experiment, you kind of get put as an outcast, but you're also a leader because you're doing something different than everyone else. It's kind of the conundrum
Right.
there, which side you want to be on. Josh, how about for you? What do you identify as a big barrier to success?
I think the barrier for a lot of bands in circle, a lot of groups and stuff, is not so much within themselves, but a lot of external feelings. I think fan bases to most forms of metal just don't
Stick with their own.
really, yeah, they stick with their own. They don't want to bring in a new band because it's not the old stuff that they like. And that's fine. Nostalgia runs deep within the metal community, right? But I feel like a lot of people are so against the idea of new upcoming artists replacing that they begin to
Put
go,
the other bands down, like the new ones.
put
right?
the new ones down and go against the new ones possible. And I think the record industry also has something to do with it too, because I think music nowadays is so driven by pop and things like this, that whenever you're any kind of musician outside of that you don't really have a place to belong in the industry itself. And even if you're looking at the underground music scene, I hear a lot of electronic music and stuff like that coming out of the underground scene. So I feel like metal is at this place, it's its own little island in music as a whole. Can't really stay in the mainstream because the mainstream doesn't really accept rock and roll and metal
Right.
anymore.
And it can't really be the underground. There's not really much that can come from that, because you're not gaining followers from out of just in the underground is like what you're getting whenever you're in there.
Yeah, and the underground really, again, it's become took out of, I think, EDM and trap and future funk and stuff like that. I've really kind of, where there used to be hardcore and punk, I feel like now there is future funk and EDM, and a lot of the music that you do is now the underground scene, is now the almost anti-establishment scene in music. where I think punk and heavy metal used to be that. It's not that anymore, and it really doesn't have a place at the moment, is what I feel like. And I feel like that holds back a lot of good, very talented bands.
Intriguing. There's a few things to unpack there. Firstly, why do you think that EDM and electronic music, why do you think electronic has become the mainstay for the underground anti-establishment kind of sound?
Because it's fun.
Probably because it's new.
Yeah, new, fun, loud, abrasive. And that's exactly what metal and punk used to be. EDM is here we are and not your parents' music, right? That's basically what it is. I don't know a lot of people over the age of 30 who listen to, right? I don't personally know. I'm sure they exist, but really EDM is a young person's music scene.
And that's not to say anything against these artists or the people that are getting into the scene, that them and new artists of all kind, but metal artists as a whole aren't really being accepted as much anymore as where it used to be. How metal isn't a big thing anymore like it was back in the day. That's breakthrough.
And I think, again, it's just back to EDM. It's new, and some of the EDM that I've heard, a lot of like the dubstep, that stuff's pretty aggressive, and that kind of has filled the need. And I think, again, like the party has really popularized a lot of electronic music too, which definitely helped with not only sales but recognition and that thing in your brain that makes you.
It helped a lot of those new upcoming bands.
Gotcha. Yeah, cool insights for sure. And then on the other thing I wanted to mention as well, speaking about how the underground scene is controlled by electronic music, do you feel like it's still possible to succeed as a metal band, even though it's kind of a niche market right now?
Yeah, I think so. Because I can see like bands right now that don't even have albums out that can like actually be good and build a good audience like on social media and that kind of thing, and can kind of there. There's still people that are willing to listen to metal, and there's still people that want rock and roll and all. It's just not the new stuff,
Yep.
And I think it's definitely possible, but I think it's going to be much harder because for our band on SoundCloud has been on SoundCloud since 2017, which is going on. We're actually going on. Will be our third year of the band's existence. So that whole time we've been on SoundCloud, but we still have just barely over a dozen, right? And we've been putting out music while not as regular people. We've been putting out ample enough music, I feel like, to get attraction to it. And even after we went out and made social media accounts, still really haven't seen a lot. I feel like it is such a small category of itself now, and so much metal relies on live that really it's hard for bands to grow. That is now controlled by electronic music. You have to go out and perform if you don't want. So I feel like it's possible, but definitely difficult.
I see. Yeah. No, I mean, I think you guys both have great points there. Sam, to your point, I agree 100%. I think that we're only limited by what we believe is true, right? Like with music production, going from, like we mentioned at the start of the podcast, how at first you thought you could only do it if you're living like in Hollywood or whatever. And then later you realize it's not true. Anybody can make music. I think it's the same way for like music marketing on the internet. Like at first you think like, oh, it's too hard, the market's dominated. But then you start to realize, oh, wait, no, there's still people out there that are interested. I just have to find how to reach them. So I think you're very right, Sam.
There's still people kind of breaking through.
Precisely. And then what you're talking about, Josh, I think that the growth aspect is a challenge for every musician, where it is possible, but it's very difficult. You have to step outside of your comfort zone and find ways to deliver the sound, whether it's through live performances or whether it's through like internet live streams or whatever way you find to work around it. But you're right, it does take a lot of hard work to grow and succeed in any kind of music genre, not just metal, but particularly metal in your guys' case. Do you guys think of the band as a hobby, or is it more serious to you guys?
It's about in the middle for me. I think that it could be something serious like a career eventually, and it's not just something that you sit down and you do for fun, We take it a little more serious. than we used to. I think it's more a little bit in between. It really depends where it goes, who wants to listen, how we do things.
I feel like I pretty much, I agree with Sammy. But the thing that I don't really have hobbies. Everything that I do, I try and look at it from the aspect of having not only a potential moneymaker in it, but something that I could potentially do for the long run. I feel like hobby insinuates that it can just kind of go away, and just fly off. But I feel like music creation for me is probably going to be doing something I do till in one form or another, however that takes form. Here it's cast iron, and down the road, who knows what it could. It's always going to be something that I do. I feel like and whether we become, the world's largest metal, whatever, definitely we're always going to still. I'm at least going to have that musical drive behind me. I feel.
That's awesome. No, it's really cool, Josh, for sure, because like you've talked about already throughout the episode today, how music is so integral for you to express yourself and to cope with emotions and to grow as a person. I think, like you said, Sam, like keeping an open mind is also great as well, being in the music industry, because stuff is so volatile. You never know what stuff's going to lead to. I want to ask you guys, for you both of you, if you could both answer, what is your definition of success? Success is such an interesting word, right? Because it means something different to everybody. To one person, it's money. To another person, it's happiness, and everything in between. So I was curious for you guys if you've thought about it already, and if you would share what are your definitions for success.
I think there's like two kinds of success. There's like breaking through, becoming popular or whatever, making a lot of money, having a lot of followers and all that. And that's considered successful. That's recognizable. That's success. But there's also personal success and do with what you made, content, feeling like you've actually made something good, whether it's recognized or.
Yeah, I agree with Sam. There's two kinds of success. There is the success you make in the world and the success you make on your own. And being able to differentiate the two can be different. Everyone thinks about the success in the world, but they never stop to think about the success within themselves. They never stop to think, I'm doing good and I feel good about it. They never think, oh, that's a success, whenever it actually is.
Yeah, great point, Josh. Great point. I love both of you guys' answers on that. And it's true, right? Like, we can get those things confused. It's so easy to connect our internal happiness with our external happiness because of the number of views we get, the number of streams we get, the number of fans we have, and mistake that to be internal happiness. But they are, like you said, Josh, they're very different things that can sometimes overlap, but it's important to kind of keep a grasp on it. And speaking of which, you guys have a brand new album that will be out like around the same time as this episode. So how do you guys feel about the album? Do you feel like the album was a success? And talk about the album a little bit.
Okay.
And by the way, for everyone watching this, we recorded this episode a few weeks ago, so they haven't quite put all the finishing touches on the album.
Yeah.
So they're gonna kind of be talking in the present and future mixed together. Anyway, guys, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. It's weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
This album, man.
Okay.
Our last album, looking back on things different and better, I think this is the album that you're really going to see Cast Iron start to grow into the animal that's going to. I think that this album is, not only did I try harder, Sammy tried harder, and we've been pouring our best into it. I know a lot of artists still do the whole hyperbolic, it's the best album of our career, with every album.
Right.
But I don't, there's the best is yet to come, and that's what's so exciting about this album, is that the album is not only going to be able to, it's a further exploration of our sound, because we're still evolving that cast iron set. This is us bringing in new elements. This is us becoming a little bit more mature,
right,
and just getting to kind of fool around with a few more things.
I think that our album, like the previous album, our first album, I can look back on it and I can see the things that I probably should have changed, and I know I could have done better at, and now especially I could have done better. And And back then we were creating an album to kind of create an album because we're a band and that's what we do, you know? But in between these albums, we had a little bit where we took some time and we worked on some projects. Yeah, immediately after the first album dropped, basically, we did take time after we were done with those projects, and we just kind of thought about it. And we honestly, I didn't think we were gonna make any more music. I thought we were about done, and but no, we got back in it, and we thought that we're just gonna sit down and we're gonna make something, you know, to the level of something like, you know, Death Punch or something. We're just gonna sit down and work through it and make a heavy metal, you know.
Yeah, it was very, very much a push to just break through what we used to be and counter all of the expectations and things that were put on us, because we got a lot of trash for our first album. A lot of people just
I'd like to
hated
think
it,
if we
you
were
know?
more well known, hated.
Yeah,
I think based on what we
but
made.
I feel like this album is going to kind of take those people, just kind of flip them off a little bit.
Show them that we can make something better and that we
Yeah.
can do better, that we are learning, and that, you know, there's still things to do. You know, there's still work that we can do, but I'm really liking where we're heading with this. I think it's a step in the right direction.
That's awesome, guys. It makes me super excited to hear you talking about it personally, what it means to you guys. So I can't wait to hear what the actual result sounds like. I'm looking forward to that. Sam, you mentioned something interesting. You said you kind of felt like you might not make music again after the first album. When did you guys start working on this current album? And like in between the first album and the current album, that space of time right there, were you guys still making music at that time, or were you like on hiatus basically?
Okay, well, after the first album release, almost immediately after, we heard it and we just weren't very happy with it, making something. So we had just about an EP's worth of music, you know, different music, new songs, and that's where we got Punch Drunk from. The instruments for that song were made in that time span with that kind of tone and all that. I got my new guitar and I was making music with that, and I was, you know, trying to improve our sound, and that's kind of where our modern sound kind of started. But we did have, and we were thinking about releasing it, but we just never got around to putting vocals on it or anything, and we weren't really sure if we were going to release it. So we decided, you know what, just kind of screw this EP. We're going to start with a new album, and we're going to kind of start fresh and reboot our career.
Yeah, it came from, with the EP, was my feelings of insignificance whenever it came to vocal performances and feeling like I can't actually sing. I've never been to a coach for singing in my life, you know. I've done some online video stuff, but never one-on-one with a coach. I've just had to learn to sing from imitation, basically. So I felt like I couldn't put vocals on these tracks and make them. So it created kind of a strain, me who didn't want to do it because I didn't like the sound of my own voice, and Sammy who wanted to get it done because he put so much work into it. So there was that bit of a strain that caused thinking about quitting music altogether. But eventually it took me actually getting injured in my martial arts class to just take some downtime and just go, you know, screw it, let's make another album. And then we on the album early January was whenever we first really started putting things together. And now then that's been all of February has been just working on the album,
Awesome.
getting
Awesome.
everything together.
No, it's really cool to hear that because it shines a light on being in a band, right? Like a band is like 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. And when there's so many people like that working together to make something, to create art, it's hard enough for one person to make a song and finish it. You know, when you've got like 2 or 3 people, like you've got to communicate, you've got to be understanding. There's some fighting that happens, you know? So it's cool to see that glimpse into it.
Well, you talked about like the differences between me and Sam, and it's really true. I am the hothead, right? I'm the cocktail of emotions and all this stuff, and he is the negotiator, right? He's the grounding kind of force. He's the backbone in a sense, and really, if it wasn't for his being able to rein me a lot different band, really, honestly, because just we're two different personalities, and the fact that we have to coexist, right?
I want a divorce. I don't want this
Yeah.
guy anymore. Please, just take him away.
Oh, I love it, guys. I love it. The
Yeah,
being humble, being
we
open.
do bicker like an old Jiminy Christmas. It's so
Yeah.
right though.
Yes. Yeah.
We even watch TV like an old married couple.
Yeah, sitting in our chairs,
Oh
flipping
my
through channels.
I love it. I love it. But like that connection is so valuable though, because if you can have that kind of connection with each other, then making music you can kind of display it as well, right? And it becomes more powerful and more meaningful, and more people can vibe with the real connection there. It's awesome. I know that you guys have pretty similar themes consistently throughout your music, but on this new album specifically, what are some of the topics that you guys delved into?
Fear was a big thing that we tackled in the album. I feel like fear, the concept of the crew, that one moment in your life where it's something so hard and difficult, you can't overcome it, and once you do overcome it, you become such a different person. I think a lot of this album, of course, we have like the normal metal songs, kill everything type deals, but we also have a lot of, I think, a lot of the raw energy and emotional distress that was on the first album is now a little bit more refined in this one. And then there's also the idea of
Repetition.
kind of, well,
Of
yeah, there's
just doing the
repetition
same thing.
behind.
Yeah,
But
in like lyrical practice and message of songs, doing the same thing is like something that we wanted to talk about, because that's kind of how we feel.
yeah, and I think another thing is that we've incorporated a lot. I guess, how would you say? While a lot of the album last album was emotional driven, some of this is. There's a few, like there's a protest song type deal that we still haven't decided what we're gonna do with that one. But then there's also just about killing things really
Right.
at the end of the day. So we've got some of that, and then we've got, of course, a creepy song here or there, and then I think this album is going to be The Last Kiss, which was already released as a single as of recording this. And that one was one that dealt with a lot of like lost love and type deals and stuff I hadn't really thought about till I thought about, and then once I thought about it, it's just like make a song kind of deal.
Yeah, not every experience you have to have personally for you to feel a connection to, or
definitely.
for you to be allowed to sing about it or write about it.
Yeah, and a lot of that song does come from
I haven't killed anybody, but I'll write about it and I'll sing about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why books are popular, video games are popular. They can kind of give us like that out of body experience. That's not the right phrase, but like that experience of doing something we've never done before.
Right.
Exploring that kind of concept.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, it's true.
Well,
I wanted to ask you something real quick, Josh, because you mentioned about a protest song and deciding if you want to keep it in the album or not. Do you guys have songs that you don't put on the album, and why is that?
We don't think that personally they're good enough a lot of the time. Is we don't feel it's a strong song, or like one of them, we thought that one we made for a different thing, we thought it would sound better on our album than the song we had currently on the album. So we kind of trashed the one on the album and replaced it, because just matches the songs better, makes it look nicer, the lineup and all that, just helps the album overall.
Yeah, and it's either a song, it's like, it usually boils down to, we don't like the song. Or whenever we were making the song, all the stuff sounded cool, but now they don't. It's usually that is the case behind it.
It can be if something technical happens and something like we screw up somewhere, or just something doesn't mesh well and we're too far along. It's going to be hard to trace it back or something. And just more, it's balancing whether working to get it to sound right is more important than what will actually come out of it.
Right.
If maybe starting new would be a better idea.
Gotcha. And then how much input does Sam, do you have on the lyrics? Josh, is it only you writing the lyrics, or Sam, do you give him like ideas or guidance on that stuff?
Mm, it's mainly Josh writes the lyrics and comes up with ideas and premises, titles. That's kind of his department. I do kind of sit there. Maybe I'll have like a chorus or something catchy that I want to add, or just some way to start a verse. But for the most part, that's all. That's all this guy's magic.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of me, and then it's like the same thing. I don't have a lot of input into the the guitars and the drums and the bass. The drums are probably the part that I have the most influence in. Unlike with the first album, I did a good bit of the guitars and stuff, and actually played on the album guitar and things like that. This time, not so much. It's usually just him.
I think so far Josh has played an opening riff on guitar
for
the album.
Yeah.
I don't think much else.
But other than that, yeah,
I remember one riff specifically that he's written for it.
But other than that, he takes care of the musical bits. I take care of the vocal bits, and that's kind of how we split the thing. And then I also handle a lot of the visual aspects of the band, video editing, making sure we have an album cover.
Appearance of the album, that too, right?
Yep. It's also
marketing.
It's great. To know what your strength is, and then play that strength and kind of complement each other, because you both have separate strengths that also combined become more powerful. So it's cool that you guys can have that self-awareness. It's awesome. Obviously, I'm super excited for the album to drop and to see how people relate to it and respond to it and everything. So best of luck with that. Additionally, is there anything else that we can expect from CastIron later this year?
I know I'd personally like to do more. I'd like to maybe record some videos for the YouTube channel, just kind of a look into our life a little bit, maybe some vlogs or equipment rundowns, stuff like that. It'd be cool. And besides, if we had the opportunity to make more music this year, we actually might. Maybe not a full album, but an EP or at least a single. And I think really the next step is kind of getting to that.
And there's got to be an in between as well. We've got to still work on singing and playing instruments so we can be better for like the next big project or the next album. That we still need to learn more so that the next album feels like a step up from the one before it, so it doesn't turn into the same old stuff.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I'm looking forward to next is music videos. I would love to film a music video someday. So that's definitely one of the around to this year. We might not. And then again, there's also the entire thing of live performances. Being able to perform live, even if it's just, hey, let's set up some stuff on a patio and get a few friends together. That's my opinion. So, things one a few of the things that we would love to do this year, but we'll see where and when it kind of happens.
All right, guys. Everyone, you heard it here first. Look out for all the exciting projects they have coming up. We do have some questions from the audience, so I'm going to read it out for us. You guys can answer it. It comes from a user on Instagram, Old Man Biller, who we're both very familiar with. And he asked, how has your music taste evolved
I don't know.
in the last few years?
Oh, boy. Okay. Okay, so Old Man.
Or Steven, as we know his name is.
Yeah, whatever, same thing.
Stranger.
Yeah, you can attest to it that my music taste used to be a lot. I used to do a lot of, again, it was Owl City, and it was all kinds of more pop-oriented, rap-oriented stuff. And now, I rarely listen to anything that's. I think the lightest band that I've listened to in the past year is a year, 2 years on a regular basis would be like AC/DC or something. So really, it's just my musical tastes have just gotten more and more aggressive as I've gotten older.
Yeah, I think the same's kind of true for me, is that I started with more of the pop stuff and listening to that kind of thing. And probably because Josh was listening to it at the time too. And then he kind of got me into the metal and all that, as comes with the band. I wasn't super huge into metal whenever I agreed to this band thing. But
Josh, you negative influence.
I was kind of into like punk for a while, and I kind of like slowly evolved into liking more metal and stuff. And
I remember
kinda-
whenever you were listening to Green Day,
Yes.
24/7. It seemed like
Yeah.
just all Green Day all the time.
Oh, that's awesome. Guys, I love everything we talked about today. As kind of to wrap up the interview section itself, I wanted to ask you guys to leave a message to the you of 1 year in the future. So if you were to talk to yourself 1 year in the future, what would you say to yourself 1 year in the future? Sam, do you want to go first and then Josh, or vice versa?
I got
God,
nothing.
damn it.
I got nothing.
I don't know.
You go.
I guess I would just tell myself that, yeah, it was bad back then. It was bad back. And just I really hope that you have stuck with all the things that you've got planned up in here, because you're going to be a better person because of it. And if you don't, well, I don't really know what to say to you other than you're kind of a failure, because, there's a lot of things that I need to change. And since you're the future me, you just, if you didn't change them, I don't know what is your problem. But if you did change it, congratulations. Understand exactly what old me was saying all along, and you just didn't realize it yet until you actually started seeing results.
Okay. For me, like future me, I'd probably say, one, take out the trash. It's probably starting to smell. And two, just keep going. Keep improving on what you got. Just no matter what happens from now and all that, I just hope that I keep going and that I'll become better because of it.
All right, guys, fantastic. I love that. All right, guys. So, as always on the Creators Lounge podcast, the final section is always the speed round. I will ask a very quick question. You guys just give a quick response, and we'll go through it. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right, very good. 3, 2, 1. Favorite color?
Black.
Purple.
Favorite food?
Cheeseburgers.
Probably nice pepperoni pizza.
Favorite day of the week?
Friday.
Saturday.
Favorite movie?
Probably Star Wars.
The Dark Knight.
Okay. Favorite song at the moment?
Christian Woman by Type O.
Yeah, mine would probably have to be. I listen to so much; it's so hard. Let's go
Good nerd.
let's go with "Spare Change" by Anti-Scene.
What is your guilty pleasure?
In terms of music, the band Hot Shot, I like them, but not usually my normal thing. Still pretty good.
My guilty pleasure is listening to a lot of hardcore type, almost gangster rap, kid rock music, and pretending I'm walking out to the UFC ring.
What countries do
mine.
you want to visit?
Ireland. I want to go to Ireland. Ireland and Germany, I think, are the big ones.
Probably Italy. I got a friend in Italy.
Shout out, Andy.
That's about it, I guess. I don't really need
what-
to go very many places.
What languages do you speak?
English.
Name one person alive or dead that you want to have a conversation with.
Probably for me, it would be Peter Steele. I'd love to just pick his brain.
For me, I'd probably go with Dimebag Darrell. Seems like a cool guy.
And the last question, how do you want people to think of you?
For me personally, I want people to think of just being a brute. That's something I tend to get a lot in life just because of myself. I want people to think of me as an actual intelligent being, with his own set of thoughts and decisions. And I want to just think of me, that's really it, just treat me like a human. Treat me by my you know.
Yeah, for me, I guess I kind of want people to think of me as, someone that can be taken and do things and actually, do cool things. I feel like for most of my life, people haven't really looked at me that way. So look at me serious.
All right, guys, fantastic. And that is all for the speed questions. CastIron, Josh, Sam, thank you guys both so much for coming on today. Is there anything you guys want to say to the audience who's listening?
Listen to our album.
Right now, stop.
That's really it.
Yes.
No, thank you. The band, whether you're jumping on now, if you're jumping on because of the podcast, we're so happy to have you. And whether or not, if you've been with us from the beginning, as some of you have, thank you. Thank you for all your continued support. You really keep the blood pumping within the CastIron machine. You keep the engine going. Tires squealing. Yeah. Thank you all for your support. And just...
Yeah, we do appreciate the people that do listen to our music and take the say something encouraging or give us helpful advice that aren't just trying to be douchebags or know-it-alls. They're actually trying to help us out, show us a better way to do things.
Yep.
Appreciate those
big
guys.
Thanks to them, and big thanks to the family, of course. So
friends and people that helped it.
Yeah. All my boys all around the globe. You know who you are.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. That'd be
All
a
right,
big
guys,
one, too.
again, thank you so much for coming on. To the audience listening, guys, if you want to hear some music that is very heartfelt, very expressive, and very different than what most of you listen to, you should definitely give them a try. These guys are hardcore. Not just hardcore. They really go at it, and they express themselves authentically, and they say what they want to say, and it is very, very refreshing to see and hear them as they continue to grow, express themselves, learn, change, and embrace new versions of themselves. So please, by all means, check out their social media, check out their music, drop them some support, let them know what you heard. And as always, I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Take care and goodbye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that episode of the Creators Lounge podcast with special guest CastIron. It was a really fun episode to create and share with you guys, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, I ask you guys to please consider donating to my Ko-fi account right here, or my PayPal account. Send me a donation on PayPal at this email address. Either way, I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for the support. It means the world to me. As you guys know, I love creating content. I love sharing it with you guys and doing it every single day. So every donation counts. It helps me to create better content and opens up new opportunities and new kinds of content I can create. So please consider donating. Thank you if you already have, and thank you if you will. And even if you don't, thank you anyway. I will see you guys in the next piece of content. Take care.